Is possession broken on FM22? Well, that's for you to decide. But in this video, we're going to be looking at ways to get a possession-based tactic to work. I have a 4-3-3 and at the moment we are averaging 60% of the ball in La Liga. We've got the highest passing completion rate, but not just that, attacking wise, we are doing very well. We've scored the most goals, we've conceded the least goals. Everything seems to be going a-okay with this possession-based tactic. So let's get stuck into things. Before we do, make sure you are subscribed to this channel if you are liking my content. Make sure you like the video. Also, you can leave a comment if you have any tactical recommendations. We are also sponsored by the OneFootball app, so make sure you check this app out. OneFootball have been amazing enough to sponsor this video, and what I need for you guys to do is check out the app. The link will be in the description. It's fairly easy to do. You can download it via the link or you can use the barcode on the screen. The app is a great footballing app. It's where you can check the latest statistics, the latest football news. You can also watch some live free games. Yes, you heard me right. You can watch free games live for free on the footballing app. It's my favorite place to keep up to date with the most recent football news. You can also find some fantastic analysis and match reports on the OneFootball app as well. If you're attempting to replicate tactics like I do on this channel, you can also use this app to grab the latest match stats and all of that good stuff. So make sure you check out the app. The link is in the description, but also you can use the barcode on the screen, and trust me, you will not regret downloading this app. Possession on FM22 isn't perfect and we all know that, but I've seen some very lazy criticism on possession on the game. Now, to get very high possession numbers in Football Manager, you've got to kind of understand how possession works in the game. Now, how it works in the game and how it works in real life is two different things. In the game, it's all about how long your team are holding possession of the ball. So basically, if your centre back is just standing there with the ball, you are going to gain a very high possession number. And that is basically why you will see the lesser teams very high in the possession numbers, because they are going to be playing very cautious in the game. Now, if we go and check the cautious mentality, it's all about being safe in possession. The more cautious you play, the more safe in possession you're going to be. And you will notice this when you are playing against the bigger sides. Your assistant manager will recommend that you drop your passing, your tempo, and also your mentality. And that in turn is going to give you a very high possession number if it's deployed correctly. So, the AI, teams like Granada, are going to play defensively and they are going to be very safe in possession, which is why you will see their centre-back knocking the ball about basically for the whole game. So this video is also going to help you try and stop those centre backs from being able to play those amount of passes. So as we can see here, Granada have 55% of the ball with a 93 pass completion rate. Celta Vigo, who are a decent side, but they've got 55% of the ball with 91% pass completion. We are Barcelona with 60% with 94 pass completion, but the difference is these teams are likely to be playing cautiously. We are playing positive, so we are kind of proving that you can be positive and have a lot of the ball. The pass completion ratio as well, we are top with 94% so far. Real Sociedad 93%, Granada 93%, Seville 92%. So again, we are seeing more of the lesser sides. Seville and Real Sociedad are not necessarily the lesser sides, but we do see Granada, Real Betis, Levante, Villarreal maybe, and Celta Vigo. So we do see a pattern here. The cautious teams are getting a lot of the ball. Why? Because they are being cautious with the ball. And that's basically how the possession is going to work in Football Manager. And it's been like that for a couple years now. This isn't the only edition where the lesser teams are having a lot of the ball. FM21 was the same and FM20 was the same as well. So as you can see, we are getting a lot of the ball. We are completing a lot of passes. We can also check how many passes we've actually completed. So for the passes completed, it is Real Sociedad who have completed the most passes, but we are second with 13,450, completing 94% of those passes. So we are doing absolutely fantastic. We're doing well in possession. How are we doing this? We can go to the tactics to have a look. So rather than just throwing the tactic right in front of your face and just saying, hey, this is the tactic, we can basically create it from scratch. I do have the tactic here, of course. It will be downloadable. The link will be in the description as well. So for the tactic, we will create it. The thought process, we'll go through all of that. And hopefully this will help you create your own possession-based tactic in Football Manager. So what I do is split the pitch horizontally as well as vertically. So we have the left flank, the left half channel, the middle section, which we can go to analyse if we just pick the team here. So here you can see we have the left flank, the left half flank, the central flank, the right half flank, and then the right flank. We need to occupy all of these areas, all of these zones we really need to occupy in order to create a good possession based tactic. Also what I did is split the pitch in 3 sections horizontally. So we have the building phase, we have the creation phase, and then we have the finishing phase. Again, this is all important when you are looking to create a tactic. So now when it comes to selecting those roles, I have to consider who is going to be in my building stages when I'm picking players in these deeper areas. So in goal, straight away, we have a sweeper keeper. Everybody knows what a sweeper keeper does. On the defensive duty, as it reads, with a defend duty, the sweeper keeper will be a lot more cautious. Very important. He's going to be more cautious, and like I said earlier, he's going to play the ball more safe. This can rack up possession numbers. So we're going to go for the sweeper keeper on defend rather than support, who's going to be looking for more of those counter-attacking passes. Now in central defense, we're going to keep with the 2 central defenders rather than the ball playing defenders. Ball playing defenders will look for the counter-attacking balls. They will also look to bring the ball out with their feet as well. Now this isn't necessarily bad, but for me and the purpose of this tactic, we are fixed on getting those possession numbers. A ball playing defender similar to a sweeper keeper can spring a few surprises, especially with the expansive passing range and being able to initiate counter-attacks. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to keep it on central defense, as they are going to be looking to keep the ball more and play those more short passes, just recycling the possession. In the wing back section, we do want some width and we do want our wing backs to get further forward, basically help with the attack and play as the possession tactics does. So to start off, we can start off by using 2 wing backs, as they're going to be looking to stretch the pitch and also look to help out in the attacking phases. This doesn't mean we're going to keep it this way. It all depends on the player roles in the attacking areas as well as central midfield. So we may end up coming back to this to tweak it. In defensive midfield, we have a few roles that we can actually use. We can use a defensive midfielder who will be looking to recycle possession in the deeper areas, a deep line playmaker where the team are going to be looking for that player. He's basically going to be the vocal point in the deeper areas. We can also use a halfback, someone who's going to drop back and offer himself in possession, but also allow those wing backs to get further forward. So a halfback for me is what we are going to be using. He's also going to be a focal point. Your team aren't going to ignore this player. They're going to use him to recycle the possession. So when building from the back, we are looking for the halfback to drop deep, offer himself as an option, helping us keep possession of the ball, which is of course the most important thing. In central midfield, we are going to stick with that box-to-box midfielder. I feel a box-to-box midfielder is very key in possession-based tactics. They are a great link between defense and attack. They can get the ball, they can also be a ball progressor. They can get on the ball, dribble it forward and bring the ball forward, but also they naturally roam from their position, which is also great for a possession-based tactic. Again, he's going to position himself in areas where he can be more effective, and this also helps us find a passing option, as he's going to be looking to roam around and we can use him as a passing option. Now for his midfield partner, originally I started with an advanced playmaker, but what I noticed that we don't really have a midfielder breaking the lines, getting further forward with their forward runs, which I felt was very important to basically create a very nice all-round tactic. It's nice creating a possession-based tactic where you have 80% of the ball, but are you creating chances? Are you getting further forward? Are you getting the ball to your forward players at any point? So I feel getting a central midfielder who can make runs into the forward areas is very, very important, especially if we're going to be using a striker who's going to be dropping deeper as well. But a central midfielder who can make forward runs is always going to be important. Now we do have a couple options. We can use a Mazzala either on support or attack, or we can use a central midfielder on support or attack as well. What I found the best for me that works is a central midfielder on attack. Now if we read what a central midfielder does, the central midfielder is responsible for providing an industrious and versatile link between defense and the attack. Again, very important. Trying to get the ball or work the ball from defense to attack is going to be important in possession based tactics. Expected to perform a variety of tasks across the center of the pitch. In our tactic, he's going to be very good on the ball. He's also going to be acting almost as a playmaker. He's not going to exactly be a playmaker. He's not going to be a vocal point. Our team aren't naturally going to look for him to be on the ball and create chances, but when he does get on the ball, he is going to create chances. He has to be versatile. He has to do basically everything what a central midfielder can do. That means create, but it also means defend, which is also very important in a possession tactic. When the opposition have the ball, the most important thing for us to do is try and win the ball back so we can be in possession. And as we can see, the central midfielder benefits from having the tactical awareness and technical ability to support both the defensive and attacking play as needed. Now, the role doesn't sound glamorous, central midfielder on attack, but he's very important, and if you actually read the description, he can be useful in a possession-based tactic. Now, when people are creating possession tactics, what I noticed that they're looking for the most glamorous roles. They're looking for the Mazzalas, they're looking for the advanced playmakers, they're looking for the deep line playmakers, they're looking for the trequartista, the false nines. Those roles aren't needed. And if you actually read some of the description of the roles, you will notice that a central midfielder can help you out a lot. But they're also very versatile roles. They can work in a counter-attacking system, a defensive system, and also in a possession-based style tactic as well. So now for the creation phase, we have someone that can be technical, creating chances, but also getting further forward in that box. We do have a box-to-box midfielder being that versatile link from defense to attack. So when we're building, we'll have to get someone from the build-up stage to the creation phase and also to that finishing phase as well. A box-to-box midfielder can do all three. And of course, the halfback, he's going to look to influence the build-up stage and the creation stage. Now, on the flanks, in the finished article, we do have the inside forward on attack, and we also have the inside winger on attack as well. At first, at the start, I did have the right winger on the winger on attack. That player alone was very wing play based. He wasn't coming inside, which a winger can do, by the way. He doesn't always have to just stay out wide on that flank. But as you will see later, we also have attacker whip stretched as well, and the winger just stayed out wide way too often, which then made me go to the inverted winger, which he did start out wide, and then on the ball, he brings the ball inside. So this is how we ended up on the flanks. We do have an inside forward, someone that can create but also score goals, and we do have an inverted winger, someone that can create goals but also who's going to be overloading in that zone 14 area. Lastly, up top, we did need someone that can drop deep and create. Again, at first we did have a false nine. He didn't actually work as well. Just because of the name, it's glamorous, that's why I went with it, and it didn't really work. In the end, I did go with a pressing forward, which helps with us winning the ball back, and I know the pressing system on the game isn't exactly perfect. When the opposition centre-backs have the ball, your strikers aren't necessarily going to press them as intense as we want. We do have a little trick, which I will show you later. So we do have a pressing forward, and he does help us win the ball back, but he also helps bringing others into play. With a support duty, the pressing forward will generally take more risk when looking to bring teammates into the game. You don't necessarily need a false nine. Now, a false nine is very helpful when you want a player to drop into these areas here, into the attacking midfield area, but that's not what I'm looking for. I do have a central midfielder who's going to be getting forward there, and we do have an inverted winger who's going to be looking to overload these areas as well. I didn't also need my striker to drop very deep. That doesn't really give us a vocal presence up top. So that there is the player roles for now. As we can see, I did have to make some tweaks. At right back, we didn't stick with the wing back on support. This is where I made my tweaks. Now I've got the whole 11 sorted out. We do have a central midfielder on attack here, and we do have an inverted winger on attack as well on the right hand side. Do we need that fullback getting further forward as well? Not really. So I actually changed this to fullback on support. I then went to his player instructions. I told him to sit more narrower. This also helps with keeping possession, by the way, and cut inside with the ball. So when the central midfielder has moved up here, the inverted winger has gone up here, the fullback can actually get further forward, so he may be positioned in this area once we are in that kind of building phase. But when he's on the ball, I will look for him or ask him to cut inside with the ball and move into these areas here, as he's going to be inside. He's going to be inside. All of our passing options are going to be in the central areas. But when the fullback doesn't have the ball, he will be looking to maintain his width kind of. I have asked him to sit more narrower when we're in possession. What you would notice in Football Manager, these instructions aren't strict. Just because you've asked him to sit narrower, that doesn't mean 90% of the time, 100% of the time he is going to be sitting more narrower. He's going to be picking and choosing those times to sit more narrower. You're basically asking them to do these stuff on a more regular basis, not telling them to do it regardless. So that's the player role tweak I made. Once I have selected all of my player roles, now it's time for the team instructions. Now, to get a lot of possession in FM22, you can just use balance. Balance actually works fine, but I want to be positive. I know I can get possession-based tactics working with that positive mentality. So with the positive mentality, it aims to move the ball around the park and to patiently probe to final third to find space as and when it opens up. And basically, my player roles are designed around that. We are going to be patiently waiting and probing, waiting for that space to open up. Now, to start off right away, the biggest tip I can give you in creating basically a possession-based tactic is literally whacking these things all the way down. You whack your passing directness down, you whack your tempo all the way down, play out of defense. Here, you are setting your possession instructions right away. I can't stress enough how much reading things is very important in Football Manager. So now if you just hover over this little thing here, this little, I don't even know what to call it, you can see this places an increased emphasis on instructing players to prioritize keeping hold of the ball. Very, very important. Now, if we move this back to the middle, passing style will be set according to the team mentality. So the team mentality, they are looking to basically keep possession, be patient in possession, but you want to emphasize on that. You really, really want to emphasize on that. So for the passing directness, we have whacked that down to shorter, and for the tempo as well. Tempo. Now, a lot of people get tempo mixed up. I think people think tempo means they're just going to zip the ball about. So if you have very short passing with a very high tempo, they're just going to zip the ball about in one touch passing. That can happen. But with tempo, what you actually are setting is the tempo between getting the ball from your defense to attack. If we have the tempo set to much higher, they're looking to get the ball from defense to attack very quickly. Basically, if you are using much higher, you are increasing the risk of your players basically looking for the furthest option, because they need to get the ball from defense to attack very quickly. So your central defender in this case, if he has the ball and he's on the positive mentality, so already he's thinking positive, he's also thinking, I've got to get the ball from defense to attack very quickly. What is he going to do? He's not exactly going to pass it to the wing back. He's not exactly going to pass it to his central defending partner. He may pass it to the halfback, or he may just ignore the halfback completely and look for that box-to-box midfielder, or look for that inside forward, depending on how deep that inside forward is. But he could be starting to ignore those players out to the left of him, his wing back, the player to the right of him, his central defending partner, and the player literally right in front of him, his halfback, because he's thinking positive, and he's also thinking, I need to get this ball from defense to attack very quickly, because basically that's what you've set, that's what you've asked him to do. But on the much lower tempo, he's looking to take his time on the ball. This is going to increase the time that he has on the ball, but also his thinking in his next pass. So now he knows that there's not much importance in getting this ball further forward as quickly as possible. Now he's going to hold the ball as long as he can and look for the player to the right of him, look for the player to the left of him. This is keeping hold of the ball. Very, very important. For the attacking width, we have set it to wide. We are going to stretch the pitch, play more expansive, how you can move your opponents. If you're stretching the pitch, playing the ball out wide, getting the ball out wide, you're shifting the opponents as well. You're shifting the opponents to one side. This can give you the option to switch the ball to the other side, but you're just also working the opposition, opening space, finding that space, again, probing, patiently probing, waiting to open up space. You're going to play the ball out wide, shift the defense open, create gaps in the opponent's defense, and then you can start to ping the ball about. And for the last instruction for in possession, we're going to use low crosses. Now, you can use work the ball into the box. I mean, this is basically down to personal preference. I didn't want to work the ball into the box. I don't mind my inside forward shooting. I don't mind my inverted winger shooting. I don't mind my pressing forward shooting. We are already slowing down the pace. Do we need to slow it down even more in front of goal? Probably not. So I like the fact that we can surprise the opponents. We can play it through them, or we could just hit a long shot. We can use the ability of these players. For example, why have someone like Coutinho if we aren't going to be using his long shooting ability? Now, in possession, when the possession has been lost, very important, counter press. Try and win the ball back as soon as possible so we can be on the ball. When the possession has been won, this is basically down to you. I left this blank. You can use hold your shape. This can make you defensively better, but we aren't defending bad at all. So I don't really need to use hold shape. You can use counter to make your side basically more of a counter-attacking side, but that goes against basically the whole point in this video. So we aren't going to be using counter. We're which is going to leave it blank. But this is basically down to the players. The players have to make that decision, and they can make that decision based on their player roles. When we win the ball, your inside forward is going to be looking to get further forward, your inverted winger is going to be looking to get further forward, and so to your central midfielder as well. So if you win the ball back high enough, these players can be your support in attack. And when your goalkeeper's in possession, the only instruction we have for him is to roll it out. He's just going to roll it out to his nearest option, whoever is available to collect the ball. Lastly, in possession, we're just going to whack everything up. We're going to whack all of this stuff up because we want to be in possession of the ball. That's the most important thing, is being in possession of the ball. And when you're out of possession, of course, the most important thing is going to be winning that ball. So we have whacked the line of engagement to much higher. We have whacked the defensive line to much higher, and we are going to press more often and prevent that short goalkeeper distribution. And for the defensive width, we are going to shuttle the opponents out wide, which is going to get them further away from our goal as possible. And for the tackling, we're just going to stay on our feet, making it difficult for the opposition to break us down. Rather than everybody flying in, we're just going to hold our defensive shape. Everybody stands up, stand tall, make it very difficult to be beaten. So that there is the team instructions all wrapped up, the player roles all wrapped up, but I almost forgot the player instructions. Very important. So let's go to the full tactic, the finished article. For the wing back, he has sit more narrow. In the central defense, they have nothing. The goalkeeper has nothing. The fullback has cut inside with the ball and sit narrow. The halfback has closed down more often, tackle harder, mark tighter. Box-to-box midfielder has marked tighter, tackle harder. You can see where this is going. The central midfielder has take more risk, important. Stay wider, kind of important. Tackle harder and mark tighter. The reason why take more risk is important is so he can play those low percentage passes trying to create. Like I said, we do kind of want a playmaker without using that playmaker role. The most important thing about a playmaker is their risk taking with their passing. Well, for advanced playmakers anyway, the most important thing is going to be, or one of the most important things is going to be their risk taking in possession. But also stay wider helps stretch the opponents, and he's just going to operate, make sure that right half flank is always covered. The box-to-box midfielder, the pressing forward and the halfback's going to make sure the central area is covered, and the inside forward should be making sure that left half space is covered as well. So on the left, we have mark tighter, tackling harder, but very, very important. This is going to be important in limiting those centre-backs passing. The left winger is going to be marking the right side of the centre-back, trying to limit the amount of passes that he can make. So he's basically going to be man-marking him. So he's basically going to try and man-mark him, making him difficult to be a passing option. If he's being marked, then the left side of the centre-back isn't going to want to pass to him because our left winger is marking the right side of the centre-back. But this also helps us kind of press in the 4-4-2, which a lot of teams in real life do, by the way. They like to press in a 4-4-2, which kind of happens for us. He's going to get further forward with the pressing forward. So it's kind of an awkward 4-4-2, but it works. We're not going to get a perfect shape, of course we're not, but we're going to get something like a 4-4-2, and it also helps preventing those centre-backs in racking up very high passing numbers. Again, we will see that in a second. The right-sided winger, he's got tackle harder, mark tighter, and the pressing forward has absolutely nothing. So we're just going to load the tactic back again. As you can see, it's the exact same tactic, and that there is the tactic wrapped up. Now we can look at the stats to see how this tactic is performing. So now in the La Liga, we've only played 20 games. We are in the 1st of January. I didn't feel I needed to play the whole season because the point in this video isn't about the actual downloaded tactic. It's basically trying to help you create your own possession-based tactics. So in the La Liga, we are top. We've played 20. We have a goal difference of plus 45 and a points tally of 56. In the Champions League, this is all on me. In the Champions League, I did always play a B-side, and that's basically to try and make sure my team is fit and ready for La Liga, because I basically wanted all the data sample to be from La Liga rather than the Champions League and the cup games as well. All the data that you're going to see is in the La Liga, and it's with basically the best team that I can play in La Liga as well, which also helps. Of course it does. In the Champions League, let's look at these beautiful stats, shall we? We have the most points per game. Of course we do. We're on top of the league. We have scored the most goals as well, 51 goals, which is 9 more than Real Madrid. For the most shots for, we are in 4th place. We don't necessarily need the amount of shots that the opposition have? Of course we don't. We've managed to score the most with the 4th most shots at goal. For the fewest shots against, it's us with 112, demonstrating our very good defensive work. For the best pass completion, it is us on top with 94%. We have the highest possession with 60%. For the most tackles won, we aren't in the top 8, we aren't supposed to be. And for the most dribbles made, we are in 2nd place with 300. Most clean sheets, us with 16. For the fewest conceded, us with 6, which is very, very impressive. But let's go to that data hub. Now, in our last game against Real Betis, this is our pass map. As you can see, we are using those wider areas very, very well, and that's down to the attacker width set to wide, so they are playing more expansive, looking in those wider areas, which of course in this tactic is very, very key. Now, for the possession, we infrequently win the ball, but we are very reliable in possession. We do lose the ball the least in the league, around 63 times we lose the ball per game, and for the possession won per game, we are very low. Again, it's kind of expected considering we are on the ball a lot of the time. Now for the passing, we can see that we have made a lot of passes, and also we are accurate with our passing as well. Real Sociedad have made the most passes, but we have been the most accurate, whilst also making the 2nd most attempted passes per game. For the goal output, we have very high quality shooting with a strong defense as well. Again, very nice. That is very good, of course it is. And for defending, we have made fewer blocks, fewer clearances, signaling the low amount of defending that we do per game, which is what we expect to see. For the movement, we are making a lot of dribbles. That's basically down to the inside forward, the inverted winger. The present forward may dribble a lot as well, and so too our central midfielders. But we aren't generally a dribbling side, so they may be making more dribbles, but they're also getting a lot more touches in possession. And for the shot map as well, you can see here that we have had a high number of clear-cut chances, so this tactic isn't limiting the amount of good chances that you can create. We are still creating some very, very good chances. We can look at the top goal scorers who have scored the most goals so far. Sergio Aguero has 13 goals in 12 starts, very impressive. Memphis Depay has 8 goals in 19 starts, Ansu Fati has 7 goals in 18. Pedri has 6 goals in 24, and Luke de Jong has 5 goals in the 7 starts. But unfortunately, that wraps up this video. I hope this video has helped you a lot. Again, this video is all about helping you rather than the downloadable tactic, which you can download, but this video isn't all about that downloadable tactic. If you have enjoyed my video, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you like this video, leave a comment. All of that helps this channel grow, but also download that OneFootball app. I'll speak to you guys soon. Stay safe and peace out. God bless.